This testimony may seem like just another fleeting phase to some, but for me, it's a sincere reflection of my journey. I admit that I've gone through many transformations over the years, from a would-be minister to a volatile adolescent, to someone deeply immersed in Eastern philosophy, and eventually to an avid atheist. Yes, I was one of those people, writing blogs, preaching to others about atheism, engaging in debates with public Christian groups, and acting as a troll on the internet to spread the message of atheism. I thought I was right. But now, I stand before you with a heart full of gratitude and humility, recanting those beliefs and testifying to my faith in Jesus Christ. As a young boy, I wanted to be a minister. But as I look back, it wasn't born out of real devotion to God. It was more about gaining attention from my peers, seeking approval, and trying to be someone I wasn't. I had knowledge about the Bible, but I didn't know how to apply it in real life. I was a loner. As I got older, things changed. In high school, I had a girlfriend, friends, and the normal teenage temptations. But when I say my faith crumbled, I don't mean that I began using drugs or drinking excessively. I simply failed to live out my faith. I became morally weak, arrogant, and unaware of my own shortcomings. In college, I became disillusioned. I saw so much gray in the world, and I took it personally, as if I had been lied to my whole life. I thought of myself as a good, strong person, but deep down, I was cynical, especially towards religion. I found comfort in my own arrogance and ignorance. I read books like The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins, which pushed me from merely questioning my beliefs to fully embracing atheism. I became active in trying to convert others, mocking believers, and arguing on blogs, forums, and anywhere I could find an audience. But even with all my knowledge and faith in science, there was always something missing. I began to feel empty. My life, my intellect, my arguments, they weren't enough to fill the void. Then, one night, in the midst of feeling overwhelmed and disillusioned, I thought about my grandmother, a woman who was strong, loving, and deeply religious. And I realized that her faith, her strength, was something I had lost in the pursuit of my own arrogance. I began to think more seriously about religion. I started going to church again, not fully believing but searching for something. At first, I told myself it was just a cultural thing, a community where people could come together and heal. But there was still emptiness in my heart. Then one afternoon, after listening to a podcast about philosophy, I felt lost in the meaninglessness of it all. I picked up a Bible, one I had brought with me from home, and I opened it to a passage in Matthew that I had highlighted when I was younger. It was a parable about not worrying about life, how God provides for the birds and the flowers, and how much more He will provide for us. It was like a light bulb went off. I realized that God wasn't just a figure with a beard in the sky. He was a force beyond comprehension. He was everything, and I was nothing without Him. I understood that faith wasn't about having all the answers, but trusting in God's plan, His love, and His grace. I understood that we, as humans, are more than just physical beings. We have souls, we have purpose, and we are more than just matter. And with that realization came gratitude for everything I had taken for granted, my life, my friends, my family, and even the struggles I had faced. I began to ask Jesus into my heart, and for the first time in my life, I felt whole. I felt at peace. Over the weeks that followed, I began to talk to Christians I had once mocked, and their experiences, their faith, it all started to make sense to me. They had felt what I was feeling. They had experienced God's love in the same way I had. I prayed, and I continue to pray, for the humility to stay in His care. I am confident that He will be with me until the end of my life. And now, I challenge you to lay down your arrogance and your pride. Read the Bible. Understand its truth. It will change your life. I know it changed mine. I pray that my testimony, as an atheist who found Christ, will inspire you to search for the truth. May you find peace, grace, and joy in the arms of Jesus Christ.